boy named Tuck and his friends find an alien in their neighborhood. As they discover that the alien needs help to get home, they decide to help. However, things take a wrong turn when they're informed by government agents that the alien is only using them to build a ship that will crush the whole town. A few weeks earlier, the residents of a small town in Nevada are asked to move out because a new freeway is about to be constructed in the area. Some of the residents are already moving out, with only a few people left. Through his YouTube channel, Tuck interviews his best friends to share their thoughts on having to move. While his friend Munch says he's more concerned about having to make new friends in a new town, their friend Alex doesn't say much because the thought of it makes him sad. Tuck also can't seem to understand why they're moving, and he even visits the starting spot for the construction, which is to be led by a man named Lawrence. Days later, Alex notices that all the phones in his house have suddenly developed a weird fault. He tells Tuck about it and also contacts Munch to ask if he's experiencing the same issue. As Munch says his phone is working just fine, Tuck suggests doing an experiment to see if the problem is from Alex's house. Shortly after, Munch arrives with some perfectly working phones, which the three boys share among themselves. After walking around for a while, the phones get affected and the boys are left shocked by this. Later that day, while trying to figure out what the image on the phone indicates, Munch discovers that it's a map. He tells his friends about it and they start wondering what it might mean. The next day, some construction workers come over to Tuck's house to ask if his phone is okay. They mention that there's an electrical fault at the construction site that seems to be triggering a fault in people's phones. Even though he knows about it, Tuck tells the men to leave. He then tells his parents that he thinks it's suspicious that the construction workers are trying to get their phones. He eventually calls his friends to inform them that he thinks there's something fishy about the construction project. As his friends ask what they should do, he suggests following the map on their faulty phones. Munch and Alex are not too sure about it, but Tuck says he doesn't want to leave without knowing what's going on, because it will be their last night together. Tuck says it's probably the best way to spend time together before moving. Munch and Alex eventually agree, and this leaves Tuck excited. The next day at school, Tuck reminds his friends that they'll be leaving for their trip that night. He also shows them a new camera he wants to attach to his bike and a pair of spy glasses he'll be wearing. Alex and Munch think the spy glasses are not good looking, but Tuck insists that they are so good he could use them to get a girl. He then stands up and approaches a table with a girl named Emma. He tries to ask for her number, but the way she looks at him discourages him, so he just asks for a sheet of paper. Much later, while the boys are heading home, Tuck reminds his friends to meet up at Munch's house later that day. Shortly after, Tuck prepares his things and tells his parents that he's spending the night at Alex's house. They don't seem to care, and as he heads out, he puts his new camera on his bike. His brother Marcus also appears to be leaving the house at the same time. Before he leaves, though, Marcus invites Tuck to his girlfriend's party later that night. Even though he sounds interested, Tuck knows he can't go because of his secret trip with Munch and Alex. After a while, Tuck leaves home and goes to pick up Alex, who has already packed most of his things. As they're leaving the house, Alex tells his parents that he's going to Munch's house to spend the night. They then tell him to make sure he's back early because the moving company will be coming over in the morning. From there, Tuck and Alex go to Munch's house to pick him up. Before they leave, he tells them that he has already created a device that will transmit all the calls his mom gets to his phone. He says that since people often say he sounds like his mom, he'll take advantage of it and use it to answer his mom's call in case any of his friends' parents call. With this, they leave the house after Munch also lies to his parents that he's spending the night at Alex's house. While Tuck and Alex are already moving, Munch waits behind. This surprises his friends and they ask what's going on. He then tells them that he's scared of cycling really far to a place they don't even know what they'll find. Despite this, Tuck and Alex convince him to come along because it's their last night together. Tuck also adds that they need to make a last-ditch effort to save their town. With this, they begin their trip on their respective bikes. The boys continue moving until everywhere gets dark. After a while, they finally get to where the map directed them, but it's in the middle of nowhere. As they look around, they find a strange object on the floor, but after looking at it, Tuck thinks it's just a piece of garbage. He says they need to leave, but his friends think they might still find something around. Just then, Alex's mom calls Munch's mom, but Munch is the one who gets the call. As he looks scared because he doesn't know what to say, Alex encourages him to answer the call. He finally answers the phone but eventually panics, so he ends the call abruptly. Alex looks disappointed by this, but Munch says it could have gone worse. Just then, they see some men approaching, so the boys eventually leave, with Munch keeping the strange object in his bag. On their way, the object suddenly makes a sound that scares Munch, who throws his bag and runs away from it. Alex doesn't get what's wrong with Munch, but as he opens the bag, he hears the beep and runs back. However, as Tuck opens the bag, nothing happens. He also brings out the object and tries to get it to beep, but nothing still happens. Alex then tells it to beep, and surprisingly, the object obeys him. Tuck tells him to do it again, but as Alex grabs it, it makes a strange sound that gets the boys to hide. After a while, Tuck starts throwing stones at the object because he thinks it's a bomb. Alex then gets him to stop because he could be damaging a useful object. While they argue about it, Alex's phone rings and the boys are left shocked as the object imitates the sound. As they wonder what exactly they're dealing with, the boys notice that their phones now have new maps showing on the screens. With this, they decide to follow the new map, which leads them to a garage. Shortly after entering, a small object breaks out of a tractor and flies around the room. The boys are scared of this, but after a while, the small object gets attached to the other one they found earlier. As they look confused as to what's going on, the object opens up and they realize that it's a pod where a little alien is hiding. After taking a closer look, they also discover that the alien is hurt. While Tuck and Alex are excited about seeing an alien, Munch looks scared and says the alien might kill them. He also refers to it as a male, and as Alex asks if it is one, the alien beeps to say yes. With this, the boys realize that the alien understands them. The boys then ask the alien several questions, including if he likes Earth. From the answers they get, the boys realize that the alien doesn't like Earth. As they wonder why, they ask if he likes them, and he says he does. The boys also find out that even though the alien is hurt, he can only get better as more pieces are attached to the pod. As they ask more questions, the boys discover that the alien is trying to build a spaceship. This gets the boys excited, and Munch now feels better. Since their phones now have a new map, they follow it until they get to a pawn shop, which it leads them to. As they enter the pawn shop, another missing piece of the pod starts flying around until it finally gets connected. Before creating a scene, the boys then run to a nearby corner to check on the alien. While looking at him, the boys discover that the alien can walk and fly. They then decide to introduce themselves to him. After doing this, they also choose to name the alien Echo. Following this, they follow the map to a new location, which turns out to be Emma's house. Even though the boys don't like the idea of breaking in, they're left with no choice. As they enter, Emma is arguing with her parents, so the boys sneakily follow the map to Emma's room. There, the missing piece again flies around and scatters the room before getting connected. Unfortunately, Emma comes in before they can leave. She recognizes them from her school, but the boys tell her not to raise any alarm. She asks them what's happening, and Munch mistakenly mentions the alien. Alex doesn't seem to like her, so he tells his friends that they need to leave with Echo. Emma says she wants to follow them, but Alex blatantly rejects her request, after which the boys leave. The next location turns out to be a club, but before they go in, Munch says he needs to use the restroom. The boys then stop by a supermarket so that Munch can use the restroom. After Munch is done, the boys see Lawrence at the supermarket. He recognizes Tuck from when he came to the site and asks why the kids are far from home. The boys don't sound convincing, but before Lawrence says anything, Emma shows up and pretends to be having a mental breakdown. She also tells Lawrence that the boys are the only friends who have been caring for her. As she then calls a stranger her mom, Lawrence decides to leave them alone. After he leaves, Emma tells the boys that she followed them to prove that she could be useful. Together, they then enter the club, after which another missing piece gets connected. However, they have to run away immediately before the people in the club start asking questions. While they're then planning their next move, Emma asks if they know why Echo came to Earth in the first place. Alex says getting answers from Echo is not as simple as she thinks. However, she picks up Echo and asks if humans shot down his spaceship. He confirms this, and Emma then asks if the people who shot him down could be looking for him. Echo confirms this again, after which he also implies that Lawrence and his people were the ones who shot him down. At this point, the kids start to think about ditching Echo to not get in trouble with Lawrence and his people. However, Alex decides against it and says he's not letting Echo be on his own. The others eventually agree with him, and they follow the map to the next location, which happens to be a casino. They find the door open, so they just go in. Shortly after, the missing parts then come together again. As the boys wonder when the ship will be complete, Emma says the pod looks like a key to the ship. Just as the boys look confused as to where the spaceship could be, a security guard sees them. Unfortunately, he grabs Alex, but the others are able to escape. While Munch and Tuck argue about whether it's right to go back in to save Alex, Emma leaves them and returns inside. While the guard is then questioning Alex, Emma gets Echo to create a scary distraction. With this, she's then able to help Alex escape. As he gets out, he looks disappointed that his friends didn't even try to save him. However, Tuck says they were just not sure what to do. The two boys fight about it, but Munch eventually gets them to stop. Shortly after, they stop at a restaurant to get some food. While they're eating, Tuck says sorry to Alex for what happened earlier. Alex then forgives his friends, and they're all happy again. However, Lawrence enters the restaurant, so they have to keep Echo in a bag. As he sees them, he comes closer and asks why they're still wandering around. He then brings out a device which detects Echo's presence. He forcefully drags the bag from the kids and heads out with his workers. Before they leave, though, Munch runs into their truck so he can follow them and save Echo. His friends run after the truck, but they're unable to catch up. Munch then calls them and says he doesn't know where they're taking him. Emma suggests that they're likely heading back to the construction site, and Tuck realizes that they won't get there fast on their bikes. He then takes Emma and Tuck to the party Marcus invited him to. As he gets there, he starts to look for Marcus's car key, but he doesn't find it. Luckily, Emma and Alex find Marcus sleeping in a bathtub, so they take the key off him. Following this, Tuck drives them to the construction site. When they get there, the kids sneak into an office, and there, they see a TV showing Munch crying in an interrogation room. They also see another screen showing Echo being prepared to be torn apart. As they decide to leave to look for Munch and Echo, Lawrence shows up and stops them. He then gets them to sit down, after which he confirms that he and his people shot down Echo. He also mentions that the pod is the key to Echo's spaceship, and that if the alien gets there, the ship might kill everyone around. Alex says that Echo only wants to go home, but Lawrence doesn't think so. He then says he needs the alien to lead him and his agents to the spaceship so that it can be destroyed. He also shows the kids a map to the next location containing the final parts of Echo's pod. He forcefully takes them there, but Echo is too weak to attract any missing parts. Lawrence tries to get the kids to wake the alien, but nothing seems to work. However, as Echo sees the faces of the kids and remembers how they treated him, he suddenly gains enough energy to attract the final parts. After this, he then blocks Lawrence and his men from reaching him and the kids, who leave in a van. As they hit the road, a big truck almost hits them, but Echo mysteriously disassembles the parts and gets them through, after which he reassembles the truck again. The kids are left shocked by this, and Alex thanks Echo. Shortly after, the kids get to their neighborhood and see a new map showing a giant spaceship. They also see Munch's mom jogging near the road, so they avoid getting seen. As they then follow the map, they are led to Alex's house. The kids are confused because there's no ship in sight, but all of a sudden, Echo breaks free and digs into the ground. With this, the kids realize that the spaceship is underneath the ground. They also realize that if it comes out, it will kill everyone in the neighborhood. Despite this, Alex decides to follow Echo, even though his friends protest against it. He eventually goes through the hole after telling his friends that he trusts Echo and that he's sure the alien won't kill them. As he enters the hole, Alex helps Echo into the spaceship and eventually sees where the pod fits. After he inserts Echo into the keyhole, the spaceship comes on. Before he realizes what's happening, Tuck and the others also join him on the spaceship. They then say their goodbyes to Echo, after which they quickly run out of the hole. As they get out, they see parts of the ship flying out of the ground until the spaceship fully gets assembled. Following this, it leaves and vanishes into space. Tuck and his friends are excited to see this, and as they're talking about being the only ones who will know what really happened, Alex's parents come out of their house to ask if the kids felt the earthquake that just happened. Munch's mom also gets closer and appears to be the only other person to see the spaceship because she was still jogging when it flew out. She asks if anyone saw the giant spaceship, but no one believes she's making sense. Tuck and his friends then see Lawrence and his agents driving through the neighborhood. That day, Alex and his parents still move out because they already bought a house in a different town. Before he leaves, Alex hugs Munch and Tuck, who keeps filming the emotional moment. In the next few days, more people in the town also leave, because they've bought houses elsewhere. Munch and his family leave after a while, but Tuck's family still waits behind. However, this doesn't stop the friends from meeting each other again, as they continue to talk about Echo and the spaceship.